Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to be ranking 7 of the Child's Play / Chucky films from my least favorite leading all the way up until my favorite film and why, with some moderately in-depth discussion for each film, the things I like and the things I didn't like, and why they are where they are on my list. But I wanted to let you guys know real quick that the Child's Play reboot film will not be on this list. I just don't support that film in any way, shape, or form. I never have. I've never seen it. I never will see it. I won't talk about it. I won't cover it. But I'm not a negative person, and this is not going to be a negative channel. Not that this channel will be free of criticism or thoughts or opinions, bad or good, but I simply just don't want to come on here and just, talk negative for the sake of being negative. But I just don't support the film, so it won't be on here. But with that being said, guys, please continue on in the video and let's see where these rank. And be sure to let me know what your ranking is too, so we can get some discussion rolling in them comments. Thanks so much. Let's get to it. Howdy ho! So coming in at number 7 for me, and my least favorite of the Child's Play / Chucky films, is Child's Play 3. That's right, Child's Play 3. It is on the bottom of my list. For biggest part is because that it is such a retread of the first 2 films. They really didn't branch out and do anything new or reinvent anything or bring anything new to the franchise. It was kind of just, though not a carbon copy, it was just so similar in terms of the plot and the tone and the story and just the pacing of it. It was so similar to the first 2 films that, I wasn't interested in seeing, something so similar to the first 2, especially when the first 2 were done so well. So it's like, if you're going to do a third film that's so similar, it's got to be on par or better than the first 2, and it's just simply not. I always compare it to the Terminator franchise, right? You got T1, T2, and T3. Well, T1 and 2 are absolutely amazing, and Terminator 3 is so similar to the first 2 and just nowhere near as good. So that's kind of how I compare this. Now, Child's Play 3, again, is not by any means a bad movie. There's things I really enjoy about Child's Play 3. I enjoy Chucky, the doll. I think he looks great. I think he looks, very well. I think he looks almost just as good as he does in the first 2 films. I like the switching the paintballs with the bullets scene. I thought was really good. And also, Chucky had some one-liners in this movie that are now infamous and iconic within the franchise. So, it wasn't a bad movie. I believe the little boy who played Tyler in the film, I didn't really care for him as much. I thought he could have been a little bit better. But yeah, ultimately, it just being a retread of the first 2 movies is I think is the biggest hindrance on Child's Play 3, and that's why it does indeed rank so low on people's lists. But but for me, it is the bottom, and I have reasons as to why everything else was above it. But for those reasons, yes, Child's Play 3 is my least favorite Child's Play movie. All right, number 6 on my list on my Chucky / Child's Play movies is going to have to be Seed of Chucky. Yep, I know you're probably watching this thinking, how in the world, Michael, how in the world is Seed of Chucky not bottom barrel? How is it not dog crap? How are you even... Hear me out. I don't know if there's any other channel out there, any other person out there that's ever going to defend Seed of Chucky in a way like I'm about to right now, because I am very passionate about this movie in a way. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still number 6 on my list. I'm not saying it's a perfect movie. I believe it has a lot of flaws, a lot of things I still don't understand after all these years, seeing the movie dozens of times. I understand that. But first and foremost, with Seed of Chucky, is we have Jennifer Tilly and Brad Dourif back together. That right there, come on, that's amazing. Having those two just back and the chemistry between those two and just seeing them on screen together again after Bride of Chucky was just great. So for those reasons alone, there was no recast or anything. I enjoy the movie a lot simply for that. But also my biggest thing with Seed of Chucky and why I feel I just could not put it last on my list is simply the impact that the character of Glenn / Glenda has had on people. And this is something I don't think people really think about all that much. That character being sexually and genderly confused and stuff, that speaks to a lot of people, especially nowadays. And, though people like that are getting much more representation in movies and film and in Hollywood in general. And I think that Don Mancini was way ahead of his time with that character. I think that character now means and speaks to so many people. I've had conversations with other Chucky fans and horror fans about Glenn Glenda specifically. And they, people have told me, and I've seen it in comments and on threads and whatnot over the years, how much that character means to them, you know what I mean, and how they can relate to that character, and how much it means so much to them. And for that reason, I just cannot write off Seed of Chucky and say it's horrible because what it's done for people. And also, it brought in another character that we all love. Let's be honest, right? Everybody craps on Seed of Chucky. Everybody, right? It's dog crap. It's terrible. It's the worst. He jumped the ship. The franchise died, and all that stuff, right? Well, I find that interesting because Glenn, if you're talking about the new dolls that are coming out from Trick or Treat, or you're talking about the Spencer's dolls that came out years ago, Glenn is an extremely popular character, and he is always the highest in rarity, right? In collectibles. People love Glenn. And with the Child's Play TV series coming out, I know about you guys, but I know I'm begging for Glenda to come back because we do love that character. And I think Seed of Chucky was Chucky. You know what I mean? He wasn't so astronomically different like he wasn't himself. Chucky was brutal. He was violent. He had the quips, and I love his design too. And he was brighter than the other movies. Like he was bright, but that was all done by design. But I still think he looked great. And I think it was still a good movie for what it was. Again, Don Mancini tried something new with Seed of Chucky, and I just can't fault him for that. I just simply cannot. I cannot fault him for wanting to do something new and not wanting to make the same movie, because Don himself, I believe, knew just as well as everyone else did that 1, 2, and 3 were so similar, and he took it in a whole other direction. He tried something new. But I back Don Mancini with this because I know he has said this in a lot of interviews that you can plug Chucky into different genres and subgenres and it works, and it's true. As off the wall horror comedy as Seed of Chucky was, it did work for what it was. You have to admit that Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, the Leprechaun, the Creeper, none of those characters could have pulled this movie off. But Chucky did. And again, for trying something new and for what that character has meant to people and how much I love Glenn Glenda and the things I did very much enjoy in this movie, Jennifer Tilly was just outstanding in this movie. Again, it's not my favorite. It is lower on my list, but there's no way it could be at the bottom. And I for one, stand for Seed of Chucky. And you know what? I don't think it's as dog crap as people say it is. And that's just my take. All right, number 5 on my ranking list is Bride of Chucky. Now, Bride of Chucky, I do remember as a kid. I still remember the day I saw this movie. I remember I seen it with my parents, my brother, and my grandfather, and we all watched it together. And I remember I loved it then, and I love it now. Bride of Chucky was obviously the first time we were introduced to the scarred, stapled, cut-up Chucky look. And it has become the most iconic look for Chucky ever since that movie, right? You go to, Spencer's or you go to Hot Topic and you look at Chucky merchandise. 90% of the Chucky merchandise out there, he's rocking the cut up, stapled look because it's such an iconic look and it's so cool and it's such a great design. So, obviously for that, I love Bride of Chucky. Again, Jennifer Tilly was amazing in this movie, both as herself as the actress and as the voice as Tiffany, the doll. And this was our introduction to Tiffany, right? And I love it. I love this movie for that because Tiffany, Jennifer Tilly now she's such a staple and she's such a huge integral part of this franchise now that her introduction, you can't really turn a blind eye to, and it was done really, really well. Like that, dark comedy, romantic comedy in a sense, you know what I mean? Like the quips between Chucky and Tiffany was really well done. I really liked that. And there was some things that weren't as desired, like maybe, the love story between the two main characters. But I still think the movie was really well done, and I really enjoyed Bride of Chucky. That's why it's toward the middle of my list, because there is films I enjoyed more. But Bride of Chucky was not a bad movie by any means. I thought the ending was really cool, and though it was a little misleading, but Tiffany giving birth to the baby that jumps out and kills the guy at the end of the movie was really cool. So I really enjoyed Bride of Chucky, and I also loved in Bride of Chucky. I loved all the nods to the other great slashers, Pinhead and Michael Myers and Leatherface. And I thought that was really cool too, and I really very much enjoyed that. So Bride of Chucky is not a bad film. Honestly, it was a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. Hey, number 5 on my list. We're coming in at number 4 is Curse of Chucky. Now, Curse of Chucky, I remember very vividly when this movie came out. I remember when it was announced. I remember following all the promotion for it, everything. I remember following this movie to a T. And I remember when it came out. I remember going to my local Walmart at midnight, and I was hounding that sales associate. I'm like, yo, let me get my copy. Curse of Chucky comes out tonight at midnight. Let's go. So that poor guy had to go in the back and look through box after box of the new releases to find it for me. But eventually I got it. I brought it home, and I watched it. Now, Curse of Chucky, I love Curse of Chucky, right? I love the, takes place over one night. In that awesome house. Great set designs with this film. I loved it. The rat poison scene going around the table and it keeps you guessing. I thought Curse of Chucky was a great movie. Our introduction to Fiona Dorff as Nika, loved it. I am a huge fan of Fiona Dorff. I'm a huge fan of her performance. She absolutely just blew me away with her performance, and I love her for that. And I mean, I can't be a big enough fan, as you can see right over here. I love Fiona Dorff in the role. I love Nika as a character. I thought she was very strong. Such a good heroine, And to watch her take her as a character, her disability, and in a lot of ways use it to her advantage and still be so strong when she feels so weak and so helpless. And I just love that story. And Chucky was great. I love the callbacks to the old films when Chucky starts referencing old families that he's come across, the Kincaids and the Barclays and stuff. I love that. We got a little bit of backstory on Charles Lee Ray after, or I would believe it's been a while, but before the shootout at the toy store and everything, kind of flashing back to before the first film. I thought that stuff was all great. I thought the story made sense pretty well. There's a little bit of a plot hole there with Eddie Caputo being the getaway driver, and Charles Lee Ray doing what he did, but that's okay. That's forgivable. No big deal there. So I loved Curse of Chucky, man. Curse of Chucky had some great kills in it, and it was a great return to form for the franchise. After Seed of Chucky performed the way it did, and the reception that it got, and to this day that it still gets, Don knew that he had to bring it back to the horror roots. He had to, and he did it, and he did it damn well. And I really enjoyed Curse of Chucky, and the after credit scene for Curse of Chucky blew me away. Unfortunately, it was spoiled for me the day before I got the DVD. So I knew it was coming, but nonetheless, it was amazing to see not only that character back, but the same actor again to reprise the role all these years later. Absolutely amazing. Couldn't wait to see what was next. Curse of Chucky, great movie, and I love it. All right, now we're getting to the top here. Number 3 for me is going to be Cult of Chucky. Yep, that's right. Now, a lot of people I know rank this movie a lot lower. This movie has always been interesting to me because it's a film that it's so divided, right? Like, a lot of these films in the Child's Play franchise, a lot of people kind of somewhat agree with. Cult of Chucky has been one, though, that there's people that I've seen and heard and talked to that just absolutely hate this movie, and there's people that love it, and they were on the edge of the seat the whole time. I am among the people that absolutely loved Cult of Chucky. Of course, all the greats were there. The little time that Jennifer Tilly was on screen, I loved. Fiona Dorff, absolutely beautiful performance again. Can't say enough about her. Brad Dourif, can't say enough. Obviously, he's Chucky. He's the man. He did amazing, knocked it out of the park. But what I love the most about, and I loved the kills in Cult of Chucky. It had some of the goriest kills ever. Now, one I did want to talk about was the oxygen tank that Chucky had, and when he smashed the glass from above and the glass came falling down on the lady in the bed. The thing I loved about that shot, when all the glass is coming down, like kind of in slow-mo, and Chucky's watching it fall, it was very, the way the imagery and the way that it was shot reminded me very much of like Hannibal, the TV series. Just the way it was shot, you know what I mean? It reminded me very much of Hannibal. And I wonder if maybe that's kind of where that kind of came from, maybe picked up on that a little bit, because Don Mancini did, in fact, work on Hannibal Season 3, with Brian Fuller's television show before Cult had come out. So, very possible. But anyway, that reminded me of that, and something I wanted to talk about. And I wanted to mention here in the video. But yeah, Cult of Chucky, my biggest love for Cult of Chucky is, again, the fact that Don Mancini wasn't afraid to take the franchise and just completely just go a different direction with it and do something new and just kick down the door and just be like, all right, let's just open this world up, right? Let's just fling the doors right open and let's just do something new. Because, guys, let's be honest. I love Child's Play. I am a diehard fan. I have been since I was a kid, right? Since picking Child's Play 2 off of a VHS rack at a Blockbuster. I've been a passionate fan for a long time, just like probably most of you watching this video. But how many more films could Don make where it's just, Chucky shows up, he does the killing, they kill Chucky at the end of the movie, and he just comes back? Like, how many more films could he honestly have done like that? He had to do something different. He had to just kick the doors out and just blow it wide open and just open a whole new toolbox of opportunities for the franchise, and he did that with Cult. I have little nitpicks about the movie, in terms of some of the decisions that were made and some of the writing here and there. Like, I'm okay with the premise of it, but they could have put more into it to really make it better. Certain plot points. But in all honesty, this movie, more so than any other Child's Play movie or Child's Play Chucky film, had me, just even to this day, as I'm recording this right now, the possibilities that run through your head of where this could go next, the possibilities are endless. I mean, just the movie just turned the whole franchise upside down and spun it around and put it back in your face like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? Because it could be anything. It's so unpredictable, and I just love it for that. And for that reason, Cult of Chucky is number 3 on my list. I love Cult of Chucky. It's a great movie. Again, has its flaws, but hey, he did something brand new, and the possibilities are absolutely endless of where this franchise can go. And I believe that he breathed new life into the franchise with Cult of Chucky. He gave this franchise another 30 years with just that premise of Cult of Chucky. Just that premise alone, he gave this franchise another 30 years. Also, the end credit scene, I don't want to spoil it, but I was screaming. I was screaming that character's name, and amazing. Absolutely amazing. I love Cult of Chucky. It's number 3. All right. Number two on my list is the original Child's Play. Yep, the 1988 film Child's Play, the first movie. Now, the first movie of Child's Play obviously is amazing. I think Alex Vincent was a great child actor. I think he was, when you watch the film, he's super cute and you feel really bad for him, and it's like you want to jump in the movie and you want to help him, and you want to be there, and he plays his role so well, and the mystique of Chucky, they kept Chucky hidden for most of the movie. You really didn't see him move or do anything or really show that he was alive until probably I think it's a little over halfway into the movie when Chucky actually reveals himself. So I think that was just great. I love the pacing of that, the suspense and everything was done. It's so dark and so gritty, And everybody, Catherine Hicks did amazing, Alex Vincent did amazing, Brad Dourif did amazing, and I love it. I love the first Child's Play. It's one of my all-time favorite movies, and it always will be. There's really nothing's ever going to change that. I don't really have any real flaws for Child's Play. It's just an amazing movie, and it stands the test of time. It's going to be something I show to my kids when they're older. They know, obviously they know Chucky, but they've never seen the film. But when they get older, I will, because I think the movie stands the test of time, and I think it's so well done. It was such a great introduction to Chucky and to this character. And honestly, I really have no complaints about Child's Play 1. I just love it. All right, here we are. Number 1 on my Child's Play franchise ranking is probably your number 1 too. And yes, it is Child's Play 2. Child's Play 2, man, I could go on and on. This could be a 2-hour video about how much I love, well, it could be a 30-hour video how much I love this franchise. But Child's Play 2, I could easily talk about this all day. But man, Child's Play 2 took everything that was good about the first movie. It took everything that was good, made it better, and gave it back to you with even more good stuff. I mean, Chucky, the doll, the actual animatronics, and everything, how Chucky moved, and how he talked, and his lips syncing up to his words was so much better than even in the first one. They improved on everything. His look was great. They got Alex Vincent back again to play Andy Barclay for this. He reprised his role, and even his acting. I believe it was about 2 years in between the first and second film, and you could just tell how Alex Vincent was such a better actor even at that point, even at his young age. He was so much better in 2 than he was in 1. Just in terms of delivering his lines and stuff a lot better. And Child's Play 2 had a great opening with the guy getting electrocuted and flying through the glass, and it really sets it off quick. You really get right into the heap of things very fast, and they don't keep Chucky hidden anymore. You know the doll's alive. They already established all that in the first film. You get right into it. Chucky just starts killing. 4 minutes into the film or whatever, 5 minutes into the movie, he's just already off and going. And I also want to talk about the foster relationship between Kyle and Andy. I love their relationship. I thought their chemistry was great. I thought the dialogue between them was very believable, and I just thought it was just a great relationship on screen. It was fun to watch. It was believable. And to watch those two, you were rooting for them to survive together, to protect each other. You were watching them bond as the film would go on. And I just loved that dynamic and their relationship. And I just love that. That was something I really loved about Child's Play 2. And another great thing about Child's Play 2 is, again, come on, guys, the factory, right? The final act, the big climax. That is one of my favorite set designs in all of horror and all of film is that factory, and everything that happened in that factory, I mean, was just beautiful and bloody and so well done, and just, it doesn't get much better than that factory ending, right? Child's Play 2 has got to be one of the most memorable Child's Play films of all time. Even casual fans that I talk to will be like, oh yeah, is that the one with the factory and the hot liquid and stuff? Everybody talks about Child's Play 2. It was such a good movie, and it was so rare. It was so rare that you actually had a sequel that actually outperformed the original for a lot of people. Now, I'm not, a lot of people believe that, not just myself, but a lot of people like Child's Play 2 over Child's Play 1. For me, it's not a very big margin, right? I mean, they're close. That 1 and 2, it's close. But Child's Play 2, man, was just absolutely amazing. Chucky, I believe, was at his best, just visually, like the doll and everything, the animatronics, everything was just spot on. The puppetry, everything about Chucky was great. His quips were great. Great kills. Very memorable movie. It is definitely one of the best horror movies of all time. And again, it beat out the original, which never happens. Off the top of my head, right, I can think of 3 franchises that actually beat out the original, right? That's Child's Play, Aliens, and Terminator. Those are the three off the top of my head to where the sequel was actually better than the original for a lot of people. So again, Child's Play 2 is just absolutely amazing, and you can't go wrong with Child's Play 2. So there you have it. And as a whole, I have to say that the Child's Play franchise, I would think overall has the best movies, if you were to put the whole franchise in a whole bundle, in comparison to other franchises like Friday the 13th or A Nightmare on Elm Street or Scream. I mean, whatever, take your pick. I really believe that Child's Play has had a much better overall standing with fans. I mean, you know, pick any other franchise. There's multiple films that will just have heaping piles of crap and negative reviews all over them, up and down, up and down, up and down. And Child's Play really only has that one movie that really seems to be, you know, kind of like a black stain on the franchise to a lot of people. Again, not to me, but, you know, overall, I feel like Child's Play really has, you know, out of any other franchise, really delivered the best films continuously, you know what I mean? With not many of them really being like major stinkers, you know, like other franchises have suffered. And I do believe that is fully in large part due to, you know, the common thread throughout all the films in Don Mancini writing all the films, David Kirshner being producing and being heavy in all these films. Don Mancini directed 3 of the films. I believe Seed, Curse, and Cult, I believe, were all directed by Don Mancini. And of course, Mr. Dourif playing Chucky all the way through. I think that lifeline that throughout, you know, that common thread from the first movie to the 7th movie has always been there. And I think that's something that really helps out this franchise, because no other franchise can say that. You know, the Clive Barkers, the Wes Cravens, you know, they have not always been there, unfortunately, from the beginning to the end in a very creative, hands-on role. So, with all that being said, I want to say thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to leave your comments about what you agree with and disagree with and all that fun stuff. And remember, this is the channel where it's all horror. It's all the time. My name is Michael, and this is my design.